No, we can always do Mario Brothers Arcade.
Yeah,
There's this
I'll
to show off,
just show
technically.
up Mario Bros. Arcade for right now and speak our thoughts on this, but that's my general... I've always been a fan of more of the Mario and Luigi series than the Paper Mario series. The Paper Mario series definitely had more high highs, but it had noticeably lower lows.
Oh, yeah.
And if we're judging based on, you know, the overall estimation, I'd say Mario and Luigi, despite it being, you know, maybe run-of-the-mill after a certain point, especially for some people, like, people didn't like Dream Team that much, or it's actually a little bit more divisive than I thought.
Yeah, some people think it...
Because of how rudimentary it was. But for as rudimentary as it was, at least it kept to its core, which is more than I can say for some of the Paper Mario games.
Yeah. But they kept the core of Sticker Star forever now.
Yep.
Just remake Thousand Year Door already! God damn it.
Kind of makes me wonder if it's even worth remaking Thousand Year Door at that point.
Or remastering it. They remastered a lot of
Remastering is
GameCube
probably
games.
the best thing. The remastering would probably be the best thing to do. Because remaking something like, I guess I also was, like I talked to you earlier about this, how I was watching a video that was basically debating on what game deserves the right to actually get a remake or whatever.
Right. Sonic the Hedgehog 2006. Probably the biggest one.
And I was talking about, you know, because I was recently playing Resident Evil Remake, and I'm enjoying Resident Evil 4 Remake a lot. It's just that I know for some people it's like, why would Resident Evil 4 be the one to get the remake?
Yeah.
And it's just, you know, because Capcom has gotten so big, it's just kind of like that's a different conversation that I'll have later on at some point, so I'll just leave it at that. But that's a debate that we'll discuss on.
You'd hold me to run, by the way. Just trying to let you know that.
Yeah. I don't think I ever did that for the longest time. Either that or I might have forgotten.
Got classic Mario controls. It was that way since the NES version. But yeah, you rarely do this. You wouldn't know.
But yeah, I'm trying to think about anything else that I might have missed in terms of... Let's see. There's at least a little bit of side quest there to give it some world building.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and you get some extra items as well. Or what I could say about the sequel to this game.
Yeah. Although, honestly, it depends on who you ask, but some people would say that it actually works in the sequel's favor because of it.
It's a little simpler design, I can admit, yeah. And the story beats going along those is still pretty enjoyable.
Yeah.
But the fact it's, like, all really linear, and it's all, like, I don't know. That's something we can discuss when we eventually get to Partners in Time, the sequel to this game. I'll just say that straight up off the bat. It's my least favorite game of the Mario and Luigi series. It's fine for what it is, but like
for right now, it's my least favorite, but that's only because I haven't played Paper Jam yet, so it's just kind of up in the
yeah,
air.
Paper Jam's usually the one people cite as their least favorite, because it was clearly rushed. It also begins a trend that was starting to get noticeable in Sticker Star. Why have original characters? We just go based on the same Mario characters we guys know and love. Why make it more complicated than it needs to be? You can still make it different, but still make it feel similar, you know?
Yeah.
Paper Jam Hand was usually fine, though. It just...
And again, that was also Alpha Dream and, you know, their games. They haven't really been influenced by what happened to Paper Mario eventually. So they were still at their core RPGs at the very least.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And we really only learned about that until... We didn't really know about that for sure until freaking Paper Mario Origami came.
Yeah.
Where they made it pretty obvious that the developers aren't allowed to make a lot of alterations to existing Mario characters anymore.
Which is pretty fucking dumb, but...
Yeah, I mean, I get they're trying to keep the series, like, simple to understand for a lot of younger players, but... The reason the later games or the earlier games were so memorable were because you friggin' decided to take a different twist.
Yeah, it's like, just because you want to keep it memorable doesn't mean you have to, like, sit here and actively, you know...
Yeah. Try to make it different for the sake of it being different.
Yeah.
People love the original Paper Mario, and that's pretty much all Bowser.
Yeah.
And then the others are very memorable. Thousand Year Door decided to have a different villain. Super Paper Mario has, or what some people say is the best story in all the Mario RPG games. And that's a different villain, has a complex build-up.
Yeah.
And then you have pretty much every game in this series up to the last one. Up before the last one.
Yeah, it's up to, I want to say Dream. But for what it's worth, I'll give Dream Team some slack just because considering what Bowser goes through in those games, it kind of does feel like the proper conclusion. Like, it would start off, like, first with this game, you basically see him as basically comic relief and nothing more.
Yep.
Second game, he's kind of under the influence of something else. Third game was probably him at his peak. But I do like him in Dream Team, just because it just feels like an appropriate place for him to be after everything that he's gone through in Dream Team.
Yep.
He's like, it's like, yo, I have been through this ringer enough to know when I'm getting screwed over. I'm not gonna let it start. I'm not gonna give you that chance.
Yep. Yep. The other thing I really love about the Mario Luigi series, especially once you get later on, the character building for Bowser, like, Bowser's character as a whole is probably his best in the Mario Luigi series.
Yeah.
Like, you actually get to see, like, the way the minions respect him and all that. And, like, how they're willing to do what they can for him despite the constant failures.
And the questioning of some of the mechanics that he makes him go through.
Yeah. Oh,
the Goomba one was always my favorite, because you're fucking Goombas.
Marching straight towards the enemy's feet! Come on! Didn't you guys remember that from training? The fuck?
Oh crap.
But yeah, at least once we get past Partners in Time, though, frickin' the third and fourth games of the series are amazing.
Yep, I personally like Dream Team the most.
Yeah, I now put the third and fourth game of Mario Luigi series above the original Paper Mario, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, I would say so too.
But I still have a soft spot for Thousand Year Door for being my favorite Mario RPG.
Yeah.
That super guard mechanic, man, it opens up so many doors.
Oh yeah, it does.
Maybe 1,000 of them? God damn it!
But I think, as far as I know, I think that's all of my general comments on the
At least on Superstar Saga and
Saga,
what it leads up to the series as a whole, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we'll continue on with mine, so I started going over that. Yeah! I remember playing the original Paper Mario when it first came out, so I was pretty familiar with Mario RPG styles. And I didn't play Super Mario RPG at the time, so... You know. I was curious to see how it went. Unfortunately, my brother got the game, and he wouldn't let me play it for a while. Even though he wasn't going to play the game himself. He just didn't want me to play because it was his. Dick. Eventually, I stuck around him and started playing on my own, and well... I really appreciated a lot of what Mario Luigi Superstar Saga did. The writing in it was pretty good, the villain was definitely different, which made it memorable, and they still had enough regular Mario stuff sprinkled in to make it still feel like a Mario game. I guess I was like 13 at the time, or 12 at the time when I played it, so... Yeah, I definitely had a lot of fun memories with it. The worst part was, I lost my original copy of that game. I think I accidentally left my Game Boy Advance somewhere when we were shopping for shoes or something.
Ah.
I left it behind in the store, and that was the game that was in it. So the only way I've gotten to play it now is through, well, eventually I got to play it on Wii U. Thanks to the Virtual Console, like the version we have here. And, well, it definitely showed me again why I really like the series. And I got to play later games of the series at the time. This game still definitely holds a special place in my heart. It's just... After playing later games of the series, you can still see some of this game's rough edges.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. It is nice that Mario and Luigi feel the most unique in this game compared to the rest of the series. But that's also where some of the rough edges come in, with some of the controls getting a little weird, like having to swap their positions, and...
Yeah, the A and B being awkwardly,
I'm so glad the 3DS entries introduced the button that lets you just jump with both of them at the same time.
Yeah. Because that was annoying.
You would have thought he'd do that as soon as the friggin' second game came out, but there is an interesting history of the development of the second game. It was like one of the first games being developed for the DS.
That would explain a lot, actually.
Yeah, like how there's no touchscreen interface. For pretty much anything but except one moment. Then it has to be more because they knew what the DS was going to look like. They just weren't aware the second screen was going to be a touchscreen. That's why there's almost no touchscreen stuff at all in that game. But yeah, regardless, I definitely have a soft spot for Mario Luigi Superstar Saga, but in regards to like overall Mario RPGs for me, it is like right around the middle.
Yeah, that's a pretty good place to put it.
Because it set a great standard for the rest of the series to follow, but at the same time, it just doesn't, ooh, nice, live up to the heights that the later games do. But it sets an amazing foundation.
Yeah. But that, yeah, like I said, it being around the middle is basically a compliment to the Mario and Luigi series in general.
Yep.
Because you could argue for most of their games just that,
Fuck! Finally died. Oh, yeah, another thing you might not know. If you hold down and crouch for a while, eventually he'll start flashing and he can get like a super jump. Well, that was unfortunate. And something took me the longest time to realize. The origin of the fucking revival platforms in Smash Brothers. You have to hold still. You have to be standing still when you do the jump, though, to do the super jump. It's based off of, because this was... Oh, for those of you that don't know. This, remaster of Mario Brothers Arcade was made when Super Mario Advance was. It was based off the Super Mario Advance engine, so the controls of Mario are basically like from him in Super Mario Brothers 2 US. That crouch jump, by the way, was a maneuver from Mario 2 USA. That's why he has it. Ooh, triple, nice. But yeah, this is endless, by the way, so we can just keep doing this until we run out of lives.
Yeah, we can just keep talking, and then once I die or whatever,
yep.
we'll figure something out.
But yeah. In regards to games in this series, I put above it, pretty obvious, the third and fourth games, Bowser's Inside Story and Dream Team. Because those two games have perfected what a lot of the formula was.
Yeah.
Paper Jam, while it still has some good things that Dream Team brought along, that has other problems. And, well, it's noticeable once you realize the development was rushed. God damn it! Oh, those stalactites.
Yep.
Let me think. Oh yeah, Partners in Time, because, well, it's very bare bones. We can get to that, we eventually get to that game. Which, we're probably not going to do that immediately, God no.
Yep.
It would be a shorter experience, though, simpler to get through.
It'd be easier to get through, which probably would be...
It's probably the easiest Mario and Luigi game as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways to easily exploit that game, which maybe some people might prefer that because of how much there is to exploit with it.
Yeah, part of me wonders if that game was rushed. It did come out, like... It came out less than a year after the DS was a thing.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Then again...
You'd be surprised about some of the development histories for some of our favorite games, and even some of the,
I'll say, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 came fucking like 6 months after the Switch came out.
Yeah.
And other than some early stability issues, that game held up pretty well. And Xenoblade Chronicles 3 shows that have to actually a lot more time to hardware. They definitely stabilized it a lot more.
Yeah, Xenoblade 3 is basically what happened when they finally, were able to put their full best foot forward.
Yep. And again, there's a Nintendo developer that's not Nintendo themselves I have full faith in right now. It's Monolith.
Yeah.
Because they help with so many games at this point. Can't wait till you can play Tears of the Kingdom.
Don't know how to feel about that game.
I will say I'm a little more intrigued over the last trailer. Ganondorf's actually back. And they show things that looks like there might be more actual legitimate dungeons.
I want to wait and see, just because...
I mean, I wouldn't bother. I will be the guinea pig for you and Coda, so we can. So I can tell you guys if it is worth playing or not. I'll save you guys the trouble.
Yeah.
Then again, apparently that game was originally supposed to be seen as like a development as DLC for Breath of the Wild, but expanded into more. Another Galaxy 2 situation.
Who knows? Maybe it'll be like Galaxy 2. I'll prefer it.
Oh god, those stalactites, yeah, they get a lot more frequent in the later stages. And you do have to continue if you wish to keep going from the stage you're on.
Let's me a minute to see how far I get.
Yep. But yeah. Well, immediate death. I can go much further. Watch this. Burn! But yeah, I do love the style that Mario Luigi Superstar Saga has. They're giving a lot of personality. Like, I will say that these games definitely get more personality than the Paper Mario games do.
Yeah.
It's definitely a lot more noticeable in later games as well. For Paper Mario games, I feel like I might like the gameplay in the first two Paper Mario games better. I don't know, I just feel like the combat system from the first two Paper Mario games is really good, but...
The combat system in Thousand Year Door is probably one of the best things ever.
Yep, refining the original Paper Mario and that Super Guard system. Not to mention the freaking actual star power thing being better!
Then again, that is also something I'll give Mario and Luigi as well. Whereas Paper Mario, you kind of almost have no choice but to take damage, and, you know, Super Guard was introduced in Thousand Year Door. Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga, they introduced a mechanic that's basically, if you're good enough, you don't really have to upgrade your health or defense,
Yep,
because you can basically just dodge everything.
You go to the whole game without taking damage, as long as you're smart.
Yep. which is something that I actually like about Mario and Luigi as well over Paper Mario.
Yeah,
Because you basically, there's like, you don't have to sit there and take the damage. If you know what you're doing, you can basically just mitigate or not take any damage at all in any fight.
And that's what allows for a lot of different customization to you. Like, you're friggin' basically going full power.
Yep.
Who needs defense? You can dodge everything. Just go full force.
Yep.
And this is the only game in the series where speed probably matters. You probably don't even need to worry about speed in the later games.
In later games, it doesn't matter as much.
You only need the speed so you can overcome Cacoletta's first attack.
Yep.
If your speed was too low, which I noticed Luigi wasn't fast enough, Mario was. I think the speed you want is 140.
I was at 137.
No, maybe it's 130 or 120. I don't know. Either way, yeah, Luigi was not fast enough. Mario was. So you barely hit that threshold. That is definitely a memorable thing, though. You get to that boss at 1 HP for both of them, and then you die. You're just like, fuck!
Yep, we both experienced that pain. They get 1 HP. They get there 1 HP, and no, not enough speed.
Die the fucking the circling flames. That was usually where I died. But yeah, Cacoletta for me is very memorable and awful. Well, you actually can see more of him later in the series, believe it or not.
You'll see when we get there.
Yep, next game. Technically.
Oh yeah, I'm trying to remember because it's been a while. I don't remember much of that. Of Partners in Time.
He is there. His role is small, but he is there.
Yeah. Then again, Partners in Time I've only played once compared to the other one, so.
And again, that's the only one in the series that one playthrough is probably enough.
Yeah.
Then again, Dream Team's the only one where you might need 2 playthroughs if you really want to challenge yourself.
I mean, I did do a hard mode last time.
Oh, hard mode, Bowser Jr. Hard mode, Dreamy Bowser. Oh god. I remember that battle took me a half hour.
You have to remember how I play.
The healing!
Because I basically used the special badge that amps up the power.
I even the duplex crown in the last battle with Dreamy Bowser hard mode took me over a half hour.
So, you'll never fucking get... Well, there's something I do have a criticism for Dream Team, but I can save that for when we get the Dream Team.
Yeah, we got a good while from there. Goddamn gyroscope, amongst other things.
Actually, the gyroscope wasn't the biggest thing that bugged me too much, although it did bug
Some of
me
the
more.
attacks were annoying with it. Mainly the drop chopper. And the slingshot.
And again, I guess it's because I'm usually generally sitting in a stable place, so it doesn't bug me nearly as much. I don't know. I never found it to be that much of a problem.
Was it more of the dreamy fights? Some of the dodging and shit?
Dreamy Luigi stuffs.
Right.
The Dreamy Luigi stuff in particular is the stuff that the gyroscope is where it started to become more noticeable.
Yep, you're right. Yep.
And also one other thing.
That Zkeeper fight is hell.
Dreamy Luigi Gauntlet. Whoever thought that was a good idea.
At least they didn't add another boss.
Oh god, that would have been horrid.
Dreamy and Tasma. Oh fuck.
Dreamy Bowser X.
Oh god. Well, he technically had that, but it's basically just the Dreamy fights weren't that much more difficult.
Yeah.
Oh, wait till you get to the gimmick they have in Paper Jam for the giant battles, quote unquote. It's the worst execution of them.
Yeah, but the friggin'... Yeah, we'll get to that more when we get to
Yeah,
Dream
yeah,
Team.
right. We're talking about the original game, which I may as well say this straight up. If you're trying to find a way to play this game, well, you can't get this version anymore. Well, actually, technically, Nintendo Switch Online, if you have the expansion pack, you can now play this game on there. That's one of the first games they put on there with the Game Boy Advance library.
At this point, though, I would
Very
recommend... At this point, I would recommend getting the,
I think it's the only way you can get it, because I forgot, there's the 3DS remake. You can't get that anymore either.
Yep.
God damn it. But I will say this, I guess as a comparison note to end this on. I like this original version better. Because while they modernized the combat in the remake, it loses some of the uniqueness that made this game kind of special compared to the rest. Like the endless brothers attacks in this game. They aren't endless in the remake. They simplified the brothers attacks. They still advance the same way they did before. I think it takes less excellent attempts to get them to advance though.
That is nice, I guess.
And the Bowser and the Bowser's Minions things, it's a nice addition that can make it worth playing, but don't buy the remake just for that, is what I'll say. The visuals are still nice, because they are still in the Dream Team aesthetic.
I do have to go sit down and ask someone about the 3DS. Yeah, that is true. I'll save that for when we
I
get
do
to
have
our
copies of them. I do have copies of both of them. And Bowser's Inside Story, I can say that when we get to that game eventually down the line, but yeah, if you want to play the remake, you can check it out if you want. But honestly, I'd say if you have a Switch, you have an expansion pack, you can play this on there. Trust me, it'll be good enough.
Yeah, there's not really. Yeah, if you played Superstar in any variation.
Still, Partners in Time, Bowser's Inside Story, Dream Team, Paper Jam. Good luck being able to play any of those games. You didn't get them before. That's the only one we can play now. Unless they frickin' remaster some of the games for a single screen format through a new company now. Who fucking knows? I've been hoping they would, but...
Honestly, if there was ever games that probably needed to show up on Switch, these Mario and Luigi games are probably the best ones to do it.
I still might hope that maybe the Switch 2 will allow some interactivity in the previous Switch, so you can do some weird DS rollback somehow. Maybe through that somehow.
Yeah, we're just hypothesizing for right now.
We're hoping, because this is a series I definitely would love to come
honestly,
back
Mario
to.
and Luigi, like, for as much, here, someone might want to give me grief because I didn't buy, Mario and Luigi, Bowser's Inside Story or the Super Saga remakes, and I understand Alvin Dream was probably in a bad place because these games were only ever on the DS, and there's always been this huge division between people on consoles and portable on handheld systems, and as a result, there's a lot of great games on those handheld systems that, kind of left to the wayside. I mean, if I want to bring up my Mega Man special, stuff like the Zero and ZX games, the Battle Network games.
03 is arguably the best Mega Man game for some people.
Yep, for me, at least, anyway. Or at least it's one of them, but,
it's up there for me, definitely. Along with X1, X4, Mega Man 3.
Yeah.
X2, X4, Mega Man 3, excuse me.
Yeah, X4.
X1's still good, though.
X1 is still good. Right. Four figure.
Yeah, handheld has a lot. Just remember, Bowser's Inside Story was the best-selling Mario RPG ever. Second is Origami King. And Original Paper Mario, I think, is at like 3 mil.
Yeah.
What was it? Original Paper Mario is at 3 mil. Origami King, I think, was at like 3.5, 4 mil. Bowser's Inside Story is at 6. The highest of any other Mario Luigi game, I think, was Dream Team at like 2 mil. Actually, Superstar Saga might be around 2 as well.
We can always look up the numbers.
Yeah, but... yeah, this is an RPG series that is going to be hard for people to get into nowadays, but it's a good one.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the last true Mario RPG we've had was Paper Jam, which released in like 2015.
It's depressing to think about it like that.
It's been almost 10 years since a true Mario RPG. Origami King was good.
What about rabbits?
I can see it as more a Rabbids game. And it's a different style, but strategy RPG was a nice approach. I like it more than Fire Emblem games, if that's weird enough to think
There's
about.
something about the execution of those games that give it a little bit more... trying to find the word for it.
Yeah, it's just sometimes it can get a little much. That's why I still get to finish Sparks of Hope. I keep playing it for a while, and then some of the dialogue just bothers me. I'm just like, I'll come back to it later.
Is it the humor or whatever?
Sometimes. More so the rabbits.
Yeah, the rabbits are just kind of like the video game.
I'm still turned off by the fact that the characters have voice clips, but Beepo, the assistant of the previous game, has full voice dialogue. Only him and the other assistant he has have full voice dialogue. Nobody else. Such a weird choice.
Guess maybe we were running on a limited budget.
And his dialogue's kind of annoying too. Yeah. But I'll probably get back to that once the Rayman thing comes around. Alright, we've been sitting here for long enough, but yep. If you haven't played this Mario RPG game, if you need to get into Mario RPGs, this is a great place to start.
Yeah, this is my starting point, so I'd say it's a great place to start.
I still think the ideal starting point for Mario RPGs, the original Paper Mario, is extremely simple as design. But this is also a great place to start.
Yep.
For the beginning of what was a great and decently running Mario RPG series. Maybe we'll have this series or another series like it come back to the forefront. Hopefully with Switch 2 or something like that.
Yeah, another Mario RPG would be nice.
It's been way too long, because Paper Mario's clearly not that anymore.
Yep.
And they don't want to bring back Thousand Year Door, but they'll shove the original Paper Mario down your throat at least, so there's that.
I mean, it's something.
Yep. Yeah, they're available and everything.
Alright.
Yep, so...
that's it.
What? I wonder what... next time we come back to more RPGs, it'll probably end up being Thousand Year Door, if I had to guess.
Yeah, it'll probably end up being Thousand Year Door. Then after that, we'll go into Partners in Time.
At least that'll be a nice, simple romp.
Yeah.
I wonder what game we're going to do next, though. Are we going to do Zero Mission now?
You know, you say that as a joke, but that might be what we might end up starting with next.
It is a good one, and it is short enough. We could blast through it pretty easily.
Yeah.
If we're both well-versed. Alright, well, you guys will find out what we do.
We'll find out when we do. You'll know when we see it, so later, people.
Yep, see ya!